Congressman Rangel. Congressman Rangel made a reference to the potential, where are the Egyptians, where are the Saudis, where are the Jordanians. There is beginning to emerge at least some theory of a silver lining in the extreme and obvious horror of the Iranian regime, which is the potential that those very countries would mobilize and have a favorable reaction that could be in some way useful to us. I wondered if you could comment on that possibility.
And we'll take a second question. Yes, sir.
Noah Greenfield, University. I'm curious, besides expressing outrage, is there anything practically that we as individuals can do?
We will get to that a little bit later in the program, very soon actually in the program. So why don't we take that?
Let me respond first, because I would have the safety net of the ambassador corrected whatever I said. You know, when this war started, it would appear to me that the United States had sought advice from the leaders in the region. And also, with all of the resolutions that we have had in terms of support for Israel, it would just appear to me that if the United States is serious, and I know that she is, in bringing peace with the Palestinians, that we would bring all of our friends from the region to support that. And not quiet support, not just saying they're not going to attack, but to be out there doing things, investing money, prestige, and trying to bring about peace in that area of Palestine and Israel. Now, I have met recently with the Consul General, and he was so pleased to see that the Saudis are now participating in bringing about the peace. I didn't say anything out of respect. I'm surprised as to what took them so long to bring peace, because it appears to me that it's more than just peace for the sovereign state of Israel. It's peace for the entire region. And by helping Israel, they're helping themselves against the very people that came out of their countries to attack on 9/11. So, to me, as we look at Iran, and we all, of course, are frightened, if they're on our side, and they're right there, why is their outrage seem so submerged so that I would have to listen to, as a result of this, they are now aware and they're doing something? Now, I don't know what happens at the Crawford Ranch, but I do know that the Crown Prince and the King and the presidents, they go there. Now, I don't know what they talk about, but it would seem to me it would be difficult to come out of that place as a politician and not have 50 microphones there saying, and what are we going to do about Iran? And what are we going to do in the region? And what more can we do to promote democracy and justice in that area for the region and for the world? But all I know is what the ambassador would tell us that they're doing and what I read in the New York Times. And so it's not negative, but it's just a whisper in view of the danger that I feel in my heart.
Thank you, Congressman, for that warm-up. I guess what I would say is that the threat posed by Iran is a threat that's felt acutely in nearby countries. It's felt particularly acutely by the states of the Persian Gulf, Saudi Arabia, and the other members of the Gulf Cooperation Council. It's certainly felt in many of the Sunni countries of the region, and they can see with grave concern what happens when Iran gets its grips onto a country like Syria and is able to use Syria as a conduit and, in effect, fellow traveler for the supply of Hezbollah, Hamas, and other terrorist organizations. I think part of the strategic framework that we have to establish, however, is to make it clear to those in the region and in the broad region who are afraid of Iran that standing with the United States is not simply something that's going to buy them a little piece of security for a short period of time. Because their fear has to be that while strong American presence would serve as an umbrella for them in the short term, that if that umbrella that the United States might provide goes away, that that leaves these states in over the longer term in more jeopardy. And I'll just cite the situation in Iraq. Many people felt that in 1991, when President Bush 41 said to the people of Iraq, now we've expelled Saddam Hussein from Kuwait, and you ought to take the next step and overthrow Saddam Hussein. And the Shiites in southern Iraq listened to that, and the Kurds in northern Iraq listened to that, and rose up and were slaughtered by Saddam Hussein. So that comments by the United States subsequently, don't worry, we're here and we're going to stay, don't necessarily ring true. Now, we're in a profound debate right now about what to do about the situation in Iraq post-Saddam Hussein. The president's been looking at a whole series of options, receiving briefings to try and figure out what his next step is going to be. And I don't want to try and foreshadow that in any way here today. But let me just say, the feeling that many people, whether it's in Iraq or the Persian Gulf or the Middle East as a whole, has to believe that if we say we're serious about democracy and that commitment, that the commitment has to be sustained. Not just when it's convenient for the United States, but over the long term. Sometimes when it's not convenient for the United States. And if we're not prepared to follow through on that kind of long-term approach, then Iranian power will grow and the threat to our interest and our friends in the region will grow.
Mr. Ambassador, I understand that there's some people that are saying that we should have tens of thousands more troops there to surge in Iraq. In view of the general feeling that the moderate Arab countries in the region are more aware of the danger, why don't we hear any talk about them submitting a part of their military to help to bring that security rather than just looking to the United States to do it?
Well, I think we can leave this debate.
No, it's not a debate.
No, I understand.
There must be a
We'll
good
give him
reason.
we'll give him the right rebuttal, and then
Let me just try and answer the question briefly. The answer that we seek, obviously, is a broader Arab coalition in support of what we're trying to do in Iraq. There's no more profound wish we have, I think, than to see the Iraqi government, a democratically elected government, succeed without having 150,000 American troops there over the long term. But why would we take the lead? Because we've got the capability. But I don't think that that's. I think that the signal that it's important to send is an American commitment is a real commitment, and that it's through thick and thin. That's what our commitment was in any number of other situations, and it's when that commitment's demonstrated that the others stand with us.